Hey y'all, come on and tune in so we can have this teaching, this conversation. Tune in, tune in, tune in. I have to tag some people. So go ahead and come in with your thinking caps. Let me know that you are here. Um, Let me know that you are here. Let me know that you are tuning in. Let me know that you're going to be a part of a healthy conversation. So if you are here, um, let me know you are here in the comments. Okay. Hey Gigi. Hey Poet. Let me know you are here in the comments. If you are here for the healthy conversation around what's going on with this blackout. In the title of this video, um, I made it let's pick up leadership instead of oppression. Okay. And I know this is gonna make some people feel uncomfortable already. But I want you all to know that as you are tuning in, um, I come from a place of teaching. I come from a place of wanting to just help you to leverage your critical thinking skills. And that's all I'm challenging people to do. When you don't know what you don't know, it's kind of hard to make certain decisions, have certain conversations, and share certain insight. And that's understandable. However, um, I think that there's a lot that we do not consider in terms of when we come up with these concepts that we want to do these blackout, I hate to call them trends, but blackout trends, and not have a full holistic view or holistic plan behind what it is that we're doing. I'm inviting people to think critically about this conversation. Okay. Let me tag some more people because some more people asked me to tag them when I went live. So give me just a second. If you're on, share this video with people that you know need it. Because I want to have a healthy conversation about it. I don't want to, I don't want to get on here and argue because that's not what I'm about. Tussling is cute. That ain't what I'm here to do. I'm here to make you all think. So share this with some people that you know may need it, and share, and let's have a good conversation. I'm trying to tag all the people that I can remember that told me to tag them. It was way too many people, but I'm trying to remember. Okay. Anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. And I have some notes in my phone because I didn't want to, I tried to remember as much as I could that I wanted to share. But I'm going to start with the notes that are in my phone. Okay. So, what I want us to think about, and nobody got time to tussle. I literally don't have time to tussle. I don't have time to do that. But what I would like for us to kind of think about is when we have these ideas around we're not going to shop with big box vendors or whoever, these big name companies, right? I want us to think holistically about the approach. Am I saying that the effort is not welcome? That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying for me as a systematic thinker, as a psychologist, as somebody who understands consumer psychology, behavioral psychology, business psychology, corporate politics, and plays, somebody who comes from that perspective is different. It's way deeper than what we consider in terms of just saying that we are just not going to spend money for a day. So let's kind of put this into perspective even more. Today is Friday. They asked for you all to not do a no spend day today. Okay. Knowing that we're going into the weekend. Okay. Tomorrow is Saturday. What we do on the weekend, we spend double, triple what we would during the week because we're excited to get to the weekend. If it's payday today, we got a little money to spend. So what you didn't spend today, you just gonna end up spending tomorrow. Okay. So if you shop before today, you didn't already spent pretty much today's money because they told you all to stock up before the day. So what I'm saying is I want you all to kind of think about the approach. What is being presented to you in terms of instruction? What is being presented to you in terms of guidance? I want you all to put all of these things together. Okay. So let's start off with the first thing, which is mindset centered around this. If we truly desire, as Black people, to really push this initiative and really say that we are going to go in on it and be disciplined and see it all the way through, right? Our mindsets have to change and we have to be able to enforce discipline, okay? So there's an extreme level of discipline that you can consider for this, and there are other types of discipline that you can consider for this. I've been reading around on Facebook. I've seen it several times. Most people have been bringing up the boycott for the Montgomery boycott for the buses, right? So we all know that their boycott alone took, I think, 15 months for them to even see change, right? And somebody said, okay, well, it starts with us doing one day. Again, I am not knocking us starting. That's not what I'm knocking. Please hear what I'm saying. Come with open minds and open ears and healthy conversation, right? I'm not knocking us starting. Does it have to start? Yes, it has to start with something. This is the something. I get that, right? However, our ancestors had a level of tenacity and discipline that we do not carry. We have not been able to pick up the same type of tenacity and discipline that they have had really ever, quite honestly. And I get it, different timelines call for different strategies. I get it. They didn't have as many resources as we have today. So they did what they thought was best and they were effective at it because they were consistent and they were disciplined. Okay. So when you start looking at it from that perspective, and Gigi, I'm gonna read your comment in a second. When you start looking at it from that perspective, you have to consider, if I am not going to shop with these big box retailers, right? If I'm not going to shop with them, I have to think about, especially if you have children and people that you have to take care of and other things to consider like that. You have to think strategically as a parent, a caregiver, whatever your responsibility is, as to if I'm going to effectively participate in this, knowing that I have a family to provide for, I need to also learn how to be resourceful and see if there is somebody whom I would prefer to buy from that has these products before you just say, oh, we just not gonna shop there. We as Black people do not have that option right now. Okay. And this is, again, I'm educating. This is what I'm doing. So I welcome healthy conversation, but this is what I'm trying to educate and paint the whole picture, right? So you can't tell a single mother that has 2 or 3 kids that she has to take care of. One of them may be sick. You're going to tell her that on today she can't go shop if she needs emergency care for her child? That's no. It would make sense if she had access to a Black hospital that was fully operational, fully running, could assist her and her children. She can get what she needs and she know her child is going to be well taken care of. But to blatantly say, like, flat out, oh, y'all just can't do it today, you all have to think a little bit deeper, just a little bit deeper about it, right? Okay. That's one extreme option, right? The other extreme option is you can just say, I'm not going to shop at these places and I'm just not going to have the product. That's like the probably the highest level of extreme. And that's okay if that's what you choose, right? But some of the daily materials that we need, that we use in everyday life, we do not have vendors that are Black owned to go directly to in our neighborhoods, in our cul-de-sacs, in our urban communities, wherever the case may be. We don't have access to these people, right? So, or it may not even exist yet, right? So, when you are saying that you do not want to go shop at these big box retailers, you also have to know that it doesn't mean that you still don't need the products that they have. You have to do this in a parallel fashion. If this is what is going to be decided to do, you have to say, okay, we're going to do a no spend day today. If you all or everybody is deciding that they're going to do no spend days continuously for the rest of the year, I need somebody to say, well, in parallel, what we are going to do is while we are setting up the no spend days for the remainder of the year or for this particular project or whatever it is that we're doing, somebody has to lead and say, in parallel, let's find either the Black-owned businesses that have these products and source these products, and let's shop with them, and or let's support somebody in the effort in getting them in position to create the infrastructure that can supply. If you are not doing that in parallel, you are going to be doing these no spend days all year. Then when we get to January 26th, we're going to be right back at square one, which is going right back to all of the retailers that you say you don't want to shop with. I need you all to think critically about this, okay? So the mindset around the approach to the strategy has to change. It cannot come from a place of emotional outbursts. You cannot come from a place to where you are always going to emotionally outburst a strategy based on the fact that you feel oppressed. Am I saying that our oppression does not matter? That is not what I'm saying. However, what I am saying is it's going to take a multitude of leaders from our community that say they care about leadership more than they do about being oppressed to be able to make a change and an initiative in the right direction. Okay? That leadership is going to require discipline. It's going to require a holistic thinking, a strategic, systematic thinking of a collective leadership to be able to efficiently push that project. Those projects, there's going to be several projects that are going to be happening at the same time. And you're going to have people that do not feel like they're so oppressed that they can't lean into their leadership to reinforce change for their community, right? But let's also look at this. Hey, I'm good. Let's also look at this on the other side of the coin in terms of this particular topic that we're talking about right now, mindset and discipline. We have had people in the Black community that have risen up. I can't give specific references, but I know I have heard of it. I have seen small instances of it on social media, stuff like that. People that have risen up, that have tried to put their efforts toward formulating an initiative to start moving towards that direction that would allow us to have our own infrastructures, our own systems, and set other people up in our community for success so we can buy from us, right? If that's what we decide to do, the new age Black Wall Street, if you will, right? But we as a community also have a problem, right? Us as Black people have issues. We do. The issue that we have is for some of us, or some of us in the Black community, when we see people do that, we give them pushback. Now I'm saying this in terms of the person being a great fit candidate. Hey, Avita, a great fit candidate. They got their mind right. They do their research. They can bring you policy. They can bring you knowledge from their back. Like, I'm saying this in terms of this person being, or these group of people being great candidates, right? We have groups of people in our own community that will go against somebody who's a great candidate that's putting forth the effort, trying to collectively create this infrastructure, and we give them pushback. We get jealous. We start side-eyeing. We start doing all the things that are keeping us oppressed. This is what we do to qualified people, right? And so at some point, we have to also collectively look at that and say, these qualified people that we may have not given a proper chance to, they don't necessarily have to do what they're trying to do for us. If they do, that's fine. That's great. But to feel entitled that they have to is a disrespect, in my opinion, because they don't have to. But it's the fact that somebody thought well enough that they wanted to take care of their community and use and leverage their skill sets, their thought process, their talents, whatever it is that they bring to the table that makes them qualified, and try to push an initiative of change, and people push that back. So if we're busy fighting ourselves, we don't need anybody else to fight us. We don't need anybody else to come tell us that they're not going to do things for us, because we're already doing that to ourselves. This is why systems in our community do not work. This is why we can look at other cultures and we get jealous and we get upset about how they can come over here and do what they do and do it so efficiently and so quickly and have cohesiveness in their families. This is why we get upset about that, when they literally just come over here, they stick together, they work the system, and they get what they need to done because they're working from a place of leadership and not oppression. I hope that makes sense, right? I really, really hope that makes sense. Let me go back up here and read your comments, Gigi. So she said they don't even realize they're hurting the vendors, to include the product and service providers, which include many minority business owners. Just because they aren't vendors, they do not understand the bigger picture, as they post on Meta. As you post on a social media platform that also said that it was giving up DEI policy, but you all said today was centered around people who were targeting DEI policy. You didn't stop getting on social media today. You were here being nosy and doing all the things that you do on a regular basis, right? So if you're going to do it, you have to intentionally do it. This is the mindset, right? You also have to do your research, right? Okay. The bus boycott started as a full boycott, not a single day. They were built mentally different. We are not consistent, 100%. They were built mentally different because they were sick and tired of being sick and tired. We be sick and tired of being sick and tired, but we don't be sick and tired to the point to where we that disciplined that we want to enforce change. And that's just where we are, right? That's just what we do. Edron does it. Yes. That's just what we do, right? So they can't compare pre-integration boycotts when our neighborhoods don't have the resources they had back then. During segregation, we supported each other because we had to. We had black clothiers, we had grocery stores, etc. Absolutely. We had it because we had to have it. We did not have the option to have options. Now that we are in the space to where we have option to have options, we have cultivated a life that is dependent upon those options. So when you start looking at reinforcing the life that is not dependent upon those options, you have to start going down the food chain of things and saying, what is cohesively keeping all of this together? Not just one day of saying, we're just not going to spend today. That may be the start, but I need to hear somebody else saying, well, this is going to lead to the next step of X is going to lead to Y. I have not yet heard that. We have done blackout days several times before. Everybody went right back to their normal lives right after. Okay. So what I'm saying is I'm challenging the thinking and the strategic approach to what it is. If we're going to do the blackout days, do them. But do them knowing that if you don't desire to get your resources or whatever it is from this particular place, and you know that stuff you need, because when you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, self-sufficiency is literally like one of the first steps. Your needs have to be met. Strategically, as a human being, our needs have to be met. We will not mentally think about anything else if our needs are not met. That's just how it works. When you are in a place of safety, psychological safety that is not healthy or safe, you cannot function until your needs are met. That's just how it works, right? Because one day just didn't make sense to me. Absolutely, Ina, it didn't. Thank you for joining. Gigi, yes. Yeah, just like somebody said, for 1 week to boycott Nestle. You think some you think some mom is going to skip out on formula for her baby? No, she's not. And it's asinine for us to think that she is. Nor do most of the people truly know what all these companies provide and own. I'm gonna get into all of that. You moving too fast, girl. I'm gonna get into all of that, right? So this is just mindset. I really, again, just want y'all to think. I'm trying to set the stage, right? This is the mindset that you have to have, right? So we've talked about mindset and discipline, okay? A lot of us lack that, especially us small business owners, okay? I don't even know if I really want to dive deep into that, but maybe I should. When you don't even have a discipline muscle developed, it is hard for you to think about how you can participate in initiatives like today, right? And it's hard for you to think about participating in initiatives like today for a longer term, right? Because you lack discipline. You lack the ability to stay focused on a task and or project for long periods of time without any um accolades, without any attention, without any, oh, you're doing so good. We have an issue with it. Some of you are only disciplined when you are receiving positive reinforcement. That's the only time you're disciplined. Sometimes you have to be disciplined when you are not receiving any type of reinforcement, positive or negative. A lot of us don't have that grit anymore. Again, our ancestors had a level of grit that we do not have. Just like Gigi said, they were forced to have their own grocery stores. They were forced to go to their own places to where they had to purchase clothes because they did not have a choice. The doors have opened to having so many choices. Now everybody has gotten comfortable. So since the door opened to so many choices, hey Taria, since the door opened to so many choices, we started looking at all of the different options that we have. And you know what happens when you got too many options to pick from? You end up scattered everywhere, right? Just think about when you go somewhere and you're looking to order food off of the menu, and the menu is just so extensive and has so many options, you get overwhelmed, right? That's where we are. We're overstimulated with options, right? And it's gotten so much to the point to where it has just gotten distracting. But the options that we have available aren't really too many options with us, right? Most of the options that we have available that are mainstream are not us, right? So, in order for us to really reshape our mindsets around this approach, we have to get more of us that are making more of these resources and things available. We don't have that yet, right? Okay, so let's move on to part two. Hopefully, this is making sense so far. Part two, let's talk mergers, acquisitions, and investment portfolios. Let's go there, okay? Let me give you a prime example of what this looks like, okay? I did a little masterclass on this as well, too. When you look at a business, you don't even realize how much that business owns per se, right? Example, we shop at Old Navy, okay? Old Navy is the name of an entity and it's also the name of a brand. However, Old Navy also owns Banana Republic. What else do they own? They own Banana Republic, Old Navy, the brand, and there's one more brand. I can't think of whatever else it is. But they have a house of brands, right? So here's the thing. If you say, I'm not going to shop at Old Navy anymore because they got rid of their DEI or they discriminated against us. So they, yes, Gap, that's what I was missing. They discriminated against us. They did this, that, and the other, right? If you're not going to shop at Old Navy, that means you also can't shop at Gap. You also can't shop at Banana Republic. You also can't shop at Old Navy, the brand, right? This also means that if you find their clothes in other places, sometimes outlet stores, you can't buy them there either because you're still pouring into that portfolio, right? Let's look at another one. Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy. Do y'all know how much that man owns? That man owns everything. Every goddamn thing. I trip out every time somebody looks at a luxury brand and the luxury brand basically and blatantly says, "We didn't make this for you." Y'all get mad, have an attitude, pout for one day, and y'all just like, "I ain't buying Louis Vuitton no more." Okay, all right. So if you don't buy Louis Vuitton anymore, guess what else you ain't gonna buy? Did you know Rihanna Fenty was owned by Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy? Oh, wait a minute. You shouldn't go to the liquor store either because you don't need Hennessy anymore, right? You don't need to go buy that anymore. You don't need that, right? Oh, you shouldn't go on the what is it? The cruise line. They have a cruise line that they have. You shouldn't do that either. You shouldn't travel with them. Like I could go on about this all day. They also don't know what else they've invested in. Exactly. Or real estate they own and lease. Exactly. So they don't just own their brands. They invest in real estate because again, it's a portfolio. So it has diverse options in terms of investment in it. So you can't go to these places. You can't purchase these products. If you're saying that you're not going to support a brand, you have to know and understand what brands have been acquired by said brand. What does the investment portfolio look like? Do y'all not realize that mergers and acquisitions happen every day? They don't announce them on News Channel 5. Like most of the time you don't know that they have happened. Procter and Gamble owns so much. Coke owns so much. Like literally, it goes way deeper than the stores that you can physically track your feet into. It doesn't it gets deep. They invest in other companies as well and buy stock in other companies. They don't understand real business. Absolutely. Other companies buy stock in other companies, just like people buy stock in theirs. You would have to literally stop shopping everywhere. And I mean everywhere. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny. You would literally have to stop shopping everywhere because of the infrastructure that was laid by the key families in the past: the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Waltons. Do you realize how deep their systems are? Like, you all have to dive a little bit deeper. Go look up their family heritage. Like, go look up the history behind all of those families and see how deep it gets. Look at the partnerships they have. Look at the causes they support, if any. Look at the structuring of their programs. Do those type of things. And then come back and make your decision as to where you're going to spend your money. I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to spend it nowhere. So again, I say, oh, hey, Arnitris, I'm sorry. I literally been watching for the notification you are live and never got it. I had to go to your page. I'm sorry. I should have texted you. But you literally would have to dig so deep. The rabbit hole probably never would end if you would take the time to actually do the research on these brands, check into their investment portfolios, see the neighborhoods they done bought. Like, these are people that have corporate neighborhoods. You gonna tell the people that live in the corporate neighborhoods to move out of their housing situations? That's their place of living. They got kids too, spouses. We gonna tell them to move? No, because we ain't got our own neighborhoods like that. We don't. Where they gonna go? Like, we can't. It gets deep. These people don't even read the business outlets and business news to know what's happening. They get their news from their friends who don't know anything and TikTok and wonder why they are behind on the curve and everything. Absolutely. I tell people all the time that are small business owners, if you own a small business, it only does you justice to subscribe to your local business journal and other business journals in maybe some other cities that you want to consider, or just out of curiosity, other countries even if that you want to consider. It does you justice to know what's going on around you, right? where the money is flowing, how it's flowing, who is involved, what are the causes that are being focused on, those types of things, right? It gives you hints and clues to what's really going on around you. When you read books, self-improvement, self-development books, self-help books, stuff like that, everything can't be from Facebook, TikTok, your friend's mouth that don't even own a business. You, everything can't be from there. Yes, Bloomberg, Forbes, BBC, App New, like the list goes on. Everything can't be from a TikTok. It can't be there. Sometimes you need to pick up a newspaper. Sometimes you need to read a blog article on Forbes. Sometimes you need to go to the New York Times and skim a little bit. Sometimes you need to do that, right? Hey Brandy. Absolutely agree, it goes so deep. A lady told me she's going to make her own fabric and use sticks and bones to sew her own clothes. Use corn cobs to wipe it. I cannot. No, ma'am. That's extreme. If that's what she want to do, that's how extreme it can get, right? But I want you all to understand these investment portfolios go deep. These people meet at the table, have real business conversation over trillions and billions of dollars, numbers that a lot of us can't even fathom, ain't never even seen before. And it happens. Some of these companies get bought out, and some of them are building towards being bought out. Even some Black-owned businesses we have watched be bought out. And the moment they were bought out, we started slandering them. Why is it that everybody has to just start a business and run a business and keep the business forever? That's not everybody's dream. They still made it even though they sold their business. They are not a sellout. That is a strategy. Like, that happens every day around you. But we've slandered several of our Black-owned businesses that have sold their businesses. We've done that publicly, dragged them. And it makes no sense because people don't understand how business works, how the true art of business works, right? Some people don't want to own a business for their entire life. Some people build the business so they can sell it, so they can use it for another venture or maybe even start another business because they were good at building it, so they can build another one, right? We are moving to a zero net worth with the average household having 11K net worth. That's all I'm saying, right? That's good stuff, Brandy. So if this is the route that we're moving to, how do we fix this? What does it look like to fix this? We're going to talk about it a little bit. Let's go to my third point. Let's talk about the businesses that have gotten on these platforms and we champion them. But now we punish them. We championed when we found out certain Black brands were getting inside of Walmart, were getting on Amazon, were getting inside of Target. We were so excited. Several brands. We were excited. We were excited that we were going to be able to go to our local grocery store, wherever they were, Ulta, wherever it is, right? And actually put our hands on these brands. But today, of all days, right? Today we say we're not going to shop these big box retailers. That is a shame that we decide that we want to punish the people who have worked so hard to get their brands inside of them. Because at the least, instead of saying we're just not going to spend money with these big box retailers, will they make money off of it? Yes. But at the least, did you at least research to see what Black-owned brands were actually inside of Target and just go buy those instead today, instead of just not shopping? Did you at least go on Amazon and see what Black-owned brands were actually on Amazon instead of just not shopping? They worked so hard to get in those doors. It is not easy because a lot of those retailers do not pay people up front to manufacture product to put on their shelves. When I was working with my mentor, we were working to get a young lady inside of Target. She went through hell. It came out well for her, but she had to go through a lot. Target is one of the companies that will actually pay you up front for your product. It don't always work like that. What you gonna sit at the table and do and discuss is they gonna give you a PO for a certain amount of product, and you're not gonna make your money till on the back end. And don't let it get on the shelves and it don't perform well. Now you got a different conversation. You put up all the money to manufacture the product, to provide your formulation or whatever it is that your blueprint, your formulation, whatever it is to the manufacturer. All of this is money. Each step of this process is money. So those brands that fought so hard to get in places that we were championing them to be in because we felt like it was a win for the culture. Oh, what happened to the culture? See, these are culture conversations that we don't be wanting to have. So the culture, the people that work so hard to be representative for the culture to get in there, now we're gonna punish them by not shopping. The only way that I could see this being efficient is if anybody had a place for them to bring their brands to. If we had our own warehouses, if we had our own big box retail places to be able to say, hey, you could take your brand off of Target shelves. I have space for you. We ain't got it. We ain't got it. So we just expect them to pull their brands off of the shelf after they forked out money to get everything manufactured and just stop their business because we're having an emotional outburst. I don't like it. I don't like it. We are not thinking. We are upset and emotionally constipated. Like we upset. We loud and wrong. Loud and wrong. Let me go back up in these comments. Brandy Monique Rodriguez was dragged for selling her bees. Yes, she was. But she took that $200 million and created a venture capital firm to help fund other Black businesses. Yes. And this is what I just got through talking about. We have a leader, somebody that said, I look in my community, I see inside the culture. I know that the top reason that Black businesses are struggling is because they don't have revenue. I formulated as a leader in my community that's initiating a change and causing innovation, a venture capital firm to help fund Black business specifically, and the culture drug her. What do you want us to do? Anybody? What do you want people like her to do? She had 200 million that she used to formulate that to solve the number one problem and got drugged for it. Well, what do you want people to do? That's what I'm saying. That's the problem. We're the problem. Not all the time, but most of the time, we are the problem, right? Gigi, if you are a product-based business, you want as many selling channels as possible, especially when you have impulse buy item. Absolutely. Omni-channel marketing, right? Omni-channel marketing is needed for product-based business. Hell, for anybody's business. You should not just be marketing your business on social media. I always have said you should use offline options to help you develop an omni-channel version of marketing that helps you to be able to reach people in other places. Some people that don't even have social media. Me and me and Gigi was talking earlier today. What happens to the people that don't have social media that don't know about the blackout day today? Y'all gonna get mad at them because they went and spend their money today? Everybody ain't got social media. I know y'all like to think everybody does, but everybody doesn't. Some people don't want to be bothered with it. There are millionaires, billionaires that do not want to be bothered with it. They don't want to be seen on it. And they still make money every day. Every day. We have made it a dependency. And yes, 2020, 21, and 22 contributed to that, but it doesn't have to be that, right? She said, no, they're starting rumors saying that all of those stores are getting rid of all the Black-owned brands. Right. And that's not the case. Right. I know multiple people with businesses who are owed tens of thousands of dollars from other retailers right now while talking about how if it wasn't for Target, they wouldn't be able to feed their families. That's all I'm saying. So the wins are there. The same things that we are complaining about are the same things that are helping to feed somebody else's family who took the initiative. Uh-oh. Am I frozen? Okay, I'm sorry, y'all. It froze for a second. Anyway, the same things that we are talking about and complaining about, having emotional outbursts about, hopping online to say that we were the first one to say, don't shop today, are the same things, some of the same things that are helping feed these Black families. I need y'all to think a little bit harder. I need you to use your critical thinking skills. I need you to understand how the corporate dynamic works. I need you to understand how business works. I need you to grow up in terms of business acumen. It's what I need you to do. So you understand this as a system and not as a personal attack. That's what we lacking right now, right? If it was that easy, we have plenty of Black millionaires and billionaires that could create a retail store. It's clearly not something that is feasible. And let's be real about the iffy support. We have too many Black businesses that have closed on life support because we don't support them consistently. Bingo. So all of this buy Black business, I don't know about y'all, but I buy Black business 25.8. I just spent $125 with a young lady yesterday that said workout clothes. Literally. But I don't have to do it because they tell me to do it today. If I know somebody that's Black, but let me also add this, that gives good customer experience as well too, I'm gonna buy it from them. They're usually the first person that I think of, right? But just because you Black and you have something for sale, doesn't always necessarily mean that people are gonna spend money with you. Why? Because our soft skills suck. Our customer service sucks. So that's a whole nother can of worms that we would have to dissect and talk about in terms of if we create these infrastructures, are y'all even gonna show up and do what we need you all to do to keep them running? Are you gonna be on time for work? Are you gonna have set store hours? Are you gonna learn how to communicate with people properly? Are you gonna learn how to do conflict resolution? Are you gonna give a great customer experience and customer service? Can you do that? Can you do that? Can you show up and lead? Do you know how to handle people correctly? Soft skills. Are we gonna be able to do that? Or am I gonna have to hear that you weren't able to make my order, that you weren't able to get your supplies, that you couldn't come in today because you just didn't feel like it, or that you had set store hours, but I showed up at the store and nothing was open? Am I going to have to hear that if we develop this infrastructure? Because we have problems with that. That's also some of the reason why Black-owned businesses can't get what they need and where they need to be, because soft skill issues, lack of business acumen issues, lack of business education issues. And then when somebody tries to educate, tries to support, tries to offer constructive criticism, it's you hating on me. You don't want to see me win. No. As a coach, as a leader in my own community, as somebody that really does want to see you win and will give you the resources to help you do so, nothing that comes out of my mouth is anything less than constructive criticism. I'm not hating on you, right? But you have some people, because the mindsets are set for oppression, that the ears are so hurt that immediately when you try to extend or offer help, free or paid, it comes from a place of emotion. The response comes from a place of emotion and oppression. It's like, oh, you're trying to attack me. No, I'm not. I'm not calling you inadequate. I'm telling you, I'm explaining to you in a respectful manner, might I add, how this can be better and how this may be hindering your process, maybe hindering your sales, maybe hindering your next level. Because I guarantee you, if you all get to a table of a Fortune 500 company that can help set you and your family up for the rest of their lives, just by you following the process, that conversation gonna look real different. It's gonna look real different. Emotional intelligence, let's not even talk about that, right? The lack of emotional intelligence and failure to understand constructive criticism will hurt them in the long run, right? We have to learn how not to take on the identity of our failures. That's exactly what it is. Nobody's attacking you. That failure or that correction does not become your identity. If every time God corrected me, I started to wear that as my identity, oh my goodness, I would be in a terrible place. I would be in a terrible place. Just because you fail or you do something incorrect doesn't necessarily mean that's who you become. However, it does mean that you can improve, and it does mean that you can do it better the next time. But a lot of us are not open to that. And it's sad. I hate to see it too, Arnitris. I really do. Um, my fourth point, creating our own infrastructure. This would mean intertwining our skills, talents, and abilities to help create our own systems and infrastructures so we don't have to retreat back to square one. We have to create our own so we don't have to retreat back to our normal systems. This means that we would have to collectively come together. And what I mentioned on my status earlier today was that um, it takes more than one person to start pushing change toward a cause. It takes a collective group of leaders. Everybody has a different set of skills, a different set of talents, a different set of abilities, a different set of knowledge, a different background in terms of life, a different background in terms of profession. We have to be able to bring all of that together. And at some point, there has to be a set of leaders and a set of Indians. A lot of us don't like being Indians. We don't. Our nature and honestly, not pointing out where we can do better is a love violation. Yeah, I can't proclaim to love you and not call you higher or remind you who you are. 100%. If you have people around you who don't push you, encourage you, enforce you to be better, you surrounded by the wrong people. You comfortable. You lacking. You stuck. You gonna be there. If you cannot posture yourself to receive correction from people that love you, it's something wrong with you. It's not something wrong with the person that is genuinely trying to correct you. And you know exactly what I mean. I don't have to over explain it, right? You know if that's coming from a genuine person in a genuine place. You know that, right? But going back to what I was saying, we have too many leaders and not enough Indians, right? So that team of leaders would have to come together to say, we're going to create the parallel initiative. If we're going to do our blackout days for the rest of the year, cool. Alongside that, there needs to be a project manager. project manager, somebody in their leadership team that's a project manager, that can say there's at least two things that we're going to do parallel to us doing these blackout days, right? Number one, we are either going to figure out who in the group is the person that's going to be the person to help build the infrastructure of the thing. Let's just say a grocery store. And we're going to say, okay, so all of the blackout, buyout money that we're not spending with these people, let's collectively put into the investment of this person so we can create this infrastructure pretty rapidly. That's how you start recirculating your black dollars. Build that one. Once you get finished with that one, we say, okay, who's next? Oh, we need our own clothing stores. Okay, build that one, move on to the next one. In most cases, this is the simplest form of a susu. And if you don't know what it is, look it up. The idea of it is you take one person and you focus all of the money on that one person in an initiative that they desire to do. And the family funds that initiative. And they fund it to where it's successful and they make sure that it's sustainable and that it thrives. Then once that person is good and sustainable, they move to the next. It's a lot of cultures that do that. We do not. So in order for us to be able to do this effectively, that would have to happen, right? That's number one. Number two is, again, we would have to actually spend our dollars with Black-owned brands because, to a young lady's point, I think it was Andrea that was under my post, she said, well, investments and revenue are the issue. Where do we get the investments and revenue? You spend the money with the Black-owned brands. You don't just keep it. You need to shop with Black-owned businesses 25/8. It shouldn't take us saying, hey, today is a blackout day for you to go spend money with a Black-owned business. It really perturbs me that people only pay attention to Black-owned businesses when it's convenient. When they want to be able to collectively say, I supported one today. They want the claps for it. You should just do that anyway. Like, we shouldn't have to clap for you every time that you support a Black business. You should just do it. It shouldn't have to take a mass outrage for you to say support a Black business. You should just do it. Those three things have to be working at the same time. They have to be working at the same time. We have issues coming together. We have issues letting leaders be leaders and Indians be Indians. We have issues, again, staying disciplined, staying consistent. We have issues side-eyeing and not supporting our own. There's no reason for somebody else to come and make it hard for us because we already make it hard for ourselves. They watch how we treat each other. They don't invest in us because they watch how we handle our money. They watch how we only book up when it's convenient. That's why they don't invest in us. They watch that. If y'all think they don't, like, I need you to think again. The people that you are saying have the money, they pay attention to that. We have a hard problem supporting our own. Very hard problem supporting our own. When I used to work in corporate spaces, my problem rarely was ever with somebody who was a different color than me. 100%. It was always a woman that looked like me in leadership. We attack our own all the time in many different ways, in many different spaces. We can't do that. You cannot create an infrastructure and a system and operate it that way. It's not going to work. It's going to fall apart. It's going to fall apart. Let me see. I've hit all my points. I've talked about all my points. So What do I want to end with? How do I want to end this? Is there something that I missed? Let me know in the comments. Did I miss anything? Did I not consider? Did I not consider something? Did I touch everything? Because that's all I had for my points. But I just wanted to educate. I wanted to come from a place of education and help people understand, like, this is what's happening in your backyard every day, right? Before I got, let me see, before I got my present job, it definitely was always someone who looked like me, who was the thorn in my side. Now these F6 at the present job, yeah, yeah, that's what it was for me. It was there for me as well too. So I get it. I get it. And I never understood that. But again, um, all I'm saying is I really want people to think. I want you all to think differently. I want you all to care about initiatives more than just one day. I want you all to have full stack plans for the actual initiative, not just one side of it. I need you all to think long term, not short term. We do cool with thinking short term, but this is a long term thing. So, what I'm hoping to see after today is for somebody to say that there's a chance or opportunity to start on some of these initiatives mentioned. And there may be somebody that may even be saying, well, Tanika, why don't you do X, Y, and Z? I'm here to educate. This is me doing some of my part, right? I'm here to educate. I'm here to offer my knowledge. This is what I get paid to do, right? But I also in my community am a huge advocate in my community. I'm doing soft skills training right now with some high school kids as a part of a program for a nonprofit right now. And we're having these types of conversations. Getting them to understand what it looks like to actually not be socially awkward when they get to the corporate table to cut a deal. You can't be socially awkward. You can't be socially awkward networking with people. You can't be socially awkward when you are in a room full of people who have money to give you. You can't be. You need to have emotional intelligence. You need to have critical thinking skills. You need to have this foundation that's going to set you up for success. I'm doing that right now. There's several other things I do in my community. So I really feel like I'm doing my part. It might not be all that I do long term, but I really do feel like I'm doing my part. And these are the conversations that we are having. And just building up the workforce of tomorrow, right? The kids of tomorrow, because they're the next up, right? I do a lot of their work. I do. And some of the things that they share with me in terms of what they see, these kids are fighting. Like they fighting some things that I really don't even understand why they're fighting and why their parents are allowing them to do that. But that's just the age that we live in right now. And so they need somebody like me um, to come in and help them get there differently, right? And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I enjoy being a leader in my community, sharing these types of perspectives, respectively. And I enjoy making people think, even as adults, right? Because we got to read more, we got to study more, we have to trust each other more, we have to support each other more. We have to stop thinking that everybody's copying off of us, that everybody's trying to steal our stuff, that everybody's trying to do what we're doing. Like we have to stop. Again, these are petty conversations that go on with us. They realize that they don't have to do much. They don't have to do much to get us offset. We will offset ourselves. They know that. They know almost any little thing will get us in a tizzy. Throw a TikTok craze. Spiral over Instagram. They know that. We can't buy into that every time it happens. And I'm really tired of seeing it. I really am. I just wish that we focus more on being leaders and tap into our leadership versus always saying, well, we're oppressed. We are, um, but just staying in oppression is not going to solve anything. It doesn't solve anything. If our ancestors stayed in oppression, just imagine where we would be. We wouldn't be here. We wouldn't have access to this. I wouldn't be looking at you. I'm just saying, we got to come out of that. We have to start developing and being leaders. And if you don't know what that looks like for yourself, um, maybe you should have a conversation with me or some of the other people that you feel like are leaders in your community. Because we have to stop leaning on that. We have to be more cognizant of where we are speaking from, how we are speaking, and how we are relaying the messages that we really want them to hear. Because right now, all they see is emotional outbursts. And I'm telling you, one day it's not going to impact them. They don't care. They just don't. When you're sitting at the C-suite table, one day of not spending, they don't care. They don't. Um, So it just looks different. And for those of you that have never worked in a corporate setting, I can understand why some of this thinking and some of these perspectives may be foreign to you. But again, I just hope that you welcome this perspective with open ears and open hearts. And you understand like this is how business works in a nutshell. And seek to build your business acumen because it's only going to help you become a better business owner and a better leader in your own community. So it only makes sense for you to seek out somebody who can educate you, provide you business education and things of that nature. I'm somebody, I do workshops and classes all the time. I used to do them for free a lot. Um, I've always done that. I have conversations with people about the questions that they have around these topics and business acumen and business development all the time. So you have to want it. If you don't want it, we can't help you. I can't help you, and nobody else can, right? So stop pushing against the people that are trying. Um, Start figuring out how can you support, how can you lock in, how can you help formulate a long-term initiative. Start thinking from that perspective and start operating a little bit differently. I hope that you felt like this live was effective and efficient. If there are things that I left and you want to add them in the comments, please feel free to do so. I still welcome the conversation to continue. But other than that, I truly hope that we are able to get on board and start looking at this initiative from a different perspective. And I will see you all whenever the next time I go live. Bye, y'all.